Hello everybody, it's art day again today. Today we're going to have a little look and a little practice at doing some printing, which is quite difficult because usually you need specialist equipment for that. But as always, we're using the stuff that we have at home. So I've got some plastic carrier bag on the table to keep my table protected. I've got a little tray here to lean on. I've got some brushes, which you don't normally use in printing. And I've got a whole selection of my food colours from the cupboard, like this. I've got some coffee here that I've made up very, very strong. I've got a little pot of water here for cleaning my brush. And I'm going to have a little experiment with some of this lipstick. Okay, I've also got some kitchen roll in case I get into a bit of a mess. And I've got a bit of plastic crisp bag to protect my table and to put my finished work on. And I've been in the garden and I have come up with some leaf shapes. So I've got leaf shape like this. This is from a laurel bush. I've got a leaf shape like this, which is ivy. I've got this little leaf here, which is called hebe. I've got another similar one to the laurel. This is from a bay tree. There are different kinds of ivy. So this one is not variegated. It has just one colour, yellow. This is a different shape of leaf of ivy, like this. I'm not sure how this would work out, but this is part of a fern leaf, which is a lovely shape. We'll see how that turns out. I've got this one here, which is from eucalyptus tree. It's got little speckles on it. I think that's some creature has been on there. This rather large one here is the dandelion. And this very pretty one here is a bit different. It's red. This is from a geranium plant. So I've got a wide variety of things here, different shapes of leaf. Obviously the colour of the leaf doesn't matter because we're going to be printing with it. So let's start off with a piece of paper. I've got some blank white paper here. Put it on my tray. Fits nicely on my tray. I'm going to choose a leaf. I'm going to start off with this ivy leaf, and I'm not going to use the front side of the leaf. I'm going to use this back of the leaf where the veins are raised. So I'm hoping when I put the colour on there that it will create a good effect. So if I put my leaf on the plastic, I'm going to get a brush here, as wide a brush as I possibly can, and I'm going to start off with some very obvious green food colouring and see how that works. The first problem that I have encountered is that my brush won't pop into the bottle. So a bit of forward planning. If you can collect little pots like this over time, just for old bottles in the kitchen, and you can use these for putting the colours in, because they're nice and small, so they don't waste the colours, and it will help me put the brush in. So let's put the green on here. There's my green in there. Brush in. Maybe I should do it on the tray. So I put my leaf on the paper, and very gently I put on my colour. Green food colouring it is. Like that. Let's get a fresh paper. Put my leaf on, ink side down, and then with another piece of paper I can lean heavily on it to make the print. Normally we use rollers for this, but we haven't got rollers at home. So let's lift that off, and what you get is quite a nice little print design there. That works quite well. Right, this time I've got a laurel leaf here. If I hold it with my fingers here, let's try the green again. Put the green on the leaf. That's probably a bit too much there. Swap your paper. This is the paper with my first print on it. So this one, I want to think carefully where I put this. If I put it here, get my spare paper on the top, and press it down as hard as you can. Try not to let it move, and then when you lift your leaf off, you will have slightly different shape of leaf there for that. Right, my next leaf that I'm going to use, I'm going to have a try out with this dandelion leaf. So I put it down as flat on the paper as I can, like this. And I have mixed my green food colouring with some blue to get a different shade. So if I put my colour on like this, doesn't really matter if it's a bit drippy. Take that paper off. Put my collection of prints on here. I'm going to put this one on perhaps like this. And I get my sheet of paper over the top and push down. Lift your paper off, lift the leaf off, and you get quite a nice effect there, slightly deeper colour of green. Alright, this time I've mixed my green food colouring with some red. Let's see what happens. So if I hold my next leaf on here, put on my food colouring, lift it off, and where you position things is actually quite important. So I'm going to put that there, put the paper on the top and press down, lift your paper off, lift your, well, it'll slide off if you want, and it's running down there a little bit. So if I get my tissue and just blot it to stop it running any further. Okay. So it is a bit indistinct, I have to say, but you can tell that it's leaves and you can see the veins quite well. So if I let this dry, maybe I could embellish it with a bit of my felt tip pen work. So I will leave that to dry for the moment. All right, my little print that I've made is fairly dry. So I'm going to try and embellish it a little bit with some of the felt tip pens. And I'm going to kind of stick to the more naturalistic colours. So I'm going to choose a dark green here. And we're not going to go around everything. We're just going to be a bit discriminating and pick where we want to highlight on the little print. I've got my long leaf here from the laurel tree. Make that different from the other one. We've got here the big dandelion leaf, which is quite faint, so I'm not going to make too much of that. And I've got the little reddy brown one here. So I shall choose, let's be risky, let's choose this bright pink here. So this little red one actually stands out really nicely. Little focus on your print like that. And I've also shown you too in the past how to do little dots close together and further apart. You can make it go down into the green. You can see that, sorry about that. Let's try another colour. Green, let's try this brown here. So I'm going to join things up a little bit like this, and then I can put my little embellishments on here as carefully as I can. If you just spend a little bit of time with it and try to get it to a situation where you like it and it looks attractive to you, I'm going to put my name down here. And then I might go somewhere and see if I can find a little frame. I could trim this down and put it in a little frame. So that's one thing we have managed to finish. In the past, people found a way of taking photographs. And they weren't like our photographs today. They were shades of brown. And that effect is called sepia. They're not black and white, they're not colour. But they were lots of very gentle and subtle shades of brown, and they really are quite effective, and people still use it today as an effect. So we're going to have a go at doing that with our printing. I'm going to show you how to do with this leaf here. We're going to use our coffee colour, and I'm going to hold the leaf on here. It's got the V inside up at the front here, and I'm going to very carefully put on my very strong coffee. Okay, change the paper, fresh bit of paper. I put my leaf on, try not to move it, and then put a piece of paper on the top, same as we've done before. Press really carefully every part of the leaf without smudging it underneath or moving it around. Take off your paper. It's quite exciting sometimes peeling off the leaf. It's an okay design. There's a bit too much coffee here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the same leaf on again in a different place. Put the paper on the top and smooth it with your hand and fingers. Take the paper off, and then when we peel off the leaf, we get another effect like this. So it's worth remembering, try not to put too much of the ink or coffee or the food colouring on. So we've got these two designs here. I'm going to leave those to dry, and we'll see how we can put them together as a picture. This one I have tried printing on the cheap wrapping paper, and it really, I'm not sure about that at all. I like this lovely delicate fern here, but I don't think the paper really does it justice. So the better quality paper you can have for printing, I think the better. This one, I've tried out my experiment here using lipstick. So this geranium leaf and this laurel leaf here, I've used lipstick, and the lipstick is quite waxy and very soft. So you need to put just a little bit on and then use your finger to spread it over the leaf before you print. And then these were two that I had used before, coffee leaves. I printed this one with a coffee, took it off, and then put it straight on here to get a second print. And that's worked out quite subtly there. And then I tried a little bit of food colour green leaf here. You can see the food colour is fairly watery. That's one of the not so good things about it. But this also looks quite good. I could trim this. I could embellish it if I wanted to. Let's try a bit of this purpley colour here. And I'm going to do a little bit on the background. I can fill these in if I want to, little circles, like that. Some more over here. Fill them in if I want to, little dots as well. And then I could trim it off, find a little frame maybe lying around at home, and you can have yourself a nice little picture. I'll show you what we've done today. We've got a leaf print here, and I haven't got any sequins or stuff like that, so I've just got orange plastic and chopped up in little bits, and also a little purple bag that some mandarin oranges came in, and you can chop those up fine to use as a decoration, and I've done some lettering on that one. Here's the one that we did with the felt tip pens. This is our little experiment with the lipstick, and I found a little frame that I've put that in, and I just cut this coffee leaf out like this. So we've managed to do quite a bit of experimenting today, and I hope you're able to have a go at home, and maybe the next time I'll show you some different ways that we could use printing.